Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, June 3, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I really appreciate the fact that you guys got my last video up to 100 likes, and I'd love it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes as well. Just hit that like button right there. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video, and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more weather lovers or rain lovers just like you guys. And we really want to build this weather community as we head into the peak months of the hurricane season, August through October, so that we can keep everyone safe. Share this video with your friends, your relatives, your co-workers, your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. As a matter of fact, I really appreciate the amount of subscribers that I got recently, considering that I am now at 15,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. I thank you all. I never thought this day would come up to at least 15k. That is great, and we want to continue building on that. Alright, so leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like here recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at this tweet from Nikhil Trivedi. He actually tracks the tropics a lot, and he makes some very annotated and accurate posts about the Atlantic hurricane season. So he stated in this recent post that he made this afternoon at 4:38 p.m. the CAG, which stands for the Central American Gyre, potential that we've highlighted is indeed materializing on the medium range models in 7 to 10 days. There's a decent chance we get a tropical cyclone out of this, assuming the signal persists. Whether that development is in the Atlantic or Eastern Pacific or both is still very much to be decided. And he's highlighting the Central American Gyre. Basically, the Central American Gyre is when we have a broad area of low pressure sitting across Central America, and sometimes it can cause some amount of low pressure to form either on the northeastern side of Central America or the southwestern side of Central America. And we know areas of low pressure have that air spinning anti-clockwise, and these are the seedlings for tropical systems, whether they are tropical depressions or tropical storms. And some of the supercomputer models have been hinting that later on in the 7 to 10 day time frame that something could develop, but the thing is that 7 to 10 days out, which explains the fact that the US National Hurricane Center isn't even saying anything about it, because they only look at the 1 to 7 day time frame, and we know how things can go regarding the 7 to 10 day time frame. They can change either way. If we get a Central American gyre, that usually spells a lot of rainfall, especially on the western Caribbean side, including Jamaica. And I'm pretty sure that some people will be, grateful for the rainfall that's expected. Central American gyre, basically a broad area of low pressure. So we'll see if the gyre spits out anything this season or if the models are just kidding around. Alright, so let us take a look at what the US National Hurricane Center put out today on the Atlantic tropical weather discussion. So we're going to be zooming in to the text that they posted here. We're going to read. It states here, heavy rainfall in Hispaniola, Jamaica, and eastern Cuba. A persistent upper-level trough over the western Caribbean will sustain a defluent pattern aloft across the area through Friday. This will support the generation of strong showers and thunderstorms capable of producing dangerous lightning, heavy rain, and gusty winds through Friday. The heavy rain may lead to flash flooding and mudslides. Flooding is also possible in areas of Hispaniola where the ground remains saturated from recent heavy rain events. According to the most recent models, Tuesday afternoon and Thursday afternoon will be the days with the most significant precipitation over north central Dominican Republic and northeast Haiti. There are also indications that significant rainfall could occur over eastern Cuba and the Cayman Islands, where abundant moisture will remain in place. So we know when the US National Hurricane Center highlights it, it's something big. It's definitely a big deal, and what they're talking about is the fact that the tropical wave is definitely going to be causing a lot of moisture along with the trough that we've been watching for the past week. And we're going to be looking at what the supercomputer models are showing. We've been looking at this for the past week. We've been highlighting the abundant moisture as represented by the green colors across the Caribbean into the southern, or into the Bahamas, southwestern Atlantic, that is. So we're just going to be going out to the next 168 hours. So keep your eyes right here as well as on the date, just like what the US National Hurricane Center would do. So this is the Euro, this is the GFS, and we're going to be looking at the Euro first. So let's go out in time. So we can see that even by Tuesday we still have a lot of greens that we see on the right that represents up to an inch or more of a rainfall across Jamaica. This is 12Z on Tuesday, which is actually 7 a.m. going out in time. Even on Wednesday we still see something similar with all of these greens, even some yellow dots in there that represent what, maybe up to 5 to 6 inches of rainfall. So there's definitely some amount of flash flooding possible, and the thing is, the flash flooding has already started. You remember Saturday how sections of the island flooded, and even today we had some flooding, and we're going to be talking more about that later on. But let's continue out in time. So even by Thursday, late Wednesday into Thursday, we still have a lot of rainfall coming in, and it's just coming in waves according to the Euro model. Look at all of that, even some yellows in there. And let's just go out to end it at the next 168 hours. So something similar to what we saw yesterday, more of that rainfall off towards the west of the island, more so in the way of whites that represent little to no rainfall. By 12Z on Monday, June 10, that's about 7 a.m. on Monday. So we'll see exactly how that goes. Let us take a look at what the GFS model is showing for the same time period. So going out, we're here, let's go back. So we're at Tuesday. So we see that rainfall, the greens that represent rainfall, especially across eastern portions of the island. 1 p.m. even more robust across most of the island. At the end of the day on Tuesday, most of the island definitely getting in on some amount of rainfall. Wednesday, something similar. Thursday into Friday, look at all of this rainfall on Friday. That is insane. Look at all those dark greens and yellows. That's what the US National Hurricane Center is talking about. A lot of rainfall is expected across the area, so there's definitely going to be some amount of flash flooding taking place. Look at that, even by Sunday into Monday, we still have some amount of rainfall lingering. Even have the GFS past 168 hours showing a lot of rainfall, maybe even an area of low pressure. But let's go back to 168 hours. The Euro doesn't show this at all. We know the GFS is quite robust as usual. So let's just take these forecasts as a grain of salt. Let's not believe that there's going to be some kind of a storm in the northwestern Caribbean by the end of the next 7 days, especially considering that the Euro isn't showing anything like that. What's the takeaway is the fact that we're going to be receiving an increase in moisture for the remainder of the week, Tuesday into Friday. So ensure that you turn around, don't drown when you come up on flooded roadways, and ensure that you have your rain gear with you as well. Look at these precipitation totals. This is from the Euro, showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 7 a.m. on Monday, June 10. We see all of the purples across Jamaica. Having a look at another map that's showing the same thing for the Euro, seeing all of these purples that represent up to 3 to even maybe close to 6 inches of rainfall across portions of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, and Jamaica. Let's look at the GFS, something similar. A lot of rainfall is represented by all of these purples into burgundy colors, especially across eastern Jamaica. Look at this that the GFS is showing for the next 7 days. Look at eastern Jamaica, especially where we see those 5 to 6 inch ranges. That's tremendous rainfall. We'll see exactly what unfolds. We see the consensus with the rainfall. Hopefully it's not as bad as the models show it to be. We don't want any loss of life, we don't want any significant damage, but we do need the rain to put some kind of a dent in the drought that some areas are currently experiencing. Alright, so let's just take a look at what the US National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather look. We can see that as of 7:18 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:18 p.m. Jamaica time, they have nothing to show. No tropical cyclone activity is expected during the next 7 days. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can still see that the entire Atlantic basin is being dominated by ridges of high pressure that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds, not to mention all these tropical waves right here, from east to west, from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean. And we can see one tropical wave right here across the western Caribbean, another tropical wave across the central Caribbean. It's this tropical wave that's gonna be spicing up the atmosphere starting on Tuesday, bringing a lot of flash flooding to the area as we head into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So it's definitely gonna be a wet week in general. We can also see a blue spike line right here associated with the leftovers of a cold front that's still attached to a trough across the Bahamas in the Greater Antilles in general. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the outline of the clouds associated with that cold front stretching all the way down to portions of the Greater Antilles attached to that trough. We can see the clouds associated with the tropical wave pushing more northwest than anything else. Clouds associated with another tropical wave to the northeast of South America. Another tropical wave right here. Another one right here. Tropical waves basically everywhere. Tropical wave training is definitely in full swing. A lot of bad weather is setting up. Alright, so we'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean's weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Monday, June 3. It was stated that sections of some southern parishes in Jamaica would receive some morning rainfall. We didn't get much of that. Instead, what we got was some morning rainfall across eastern parishes in Jamaica than anything else. And it was also predicted that we would have received some afternoon rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. Just for reference, we know southern parishes we're talking about: Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. Eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. So St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. So Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? As early as 7:45 a.m., we had the visible satellite image that was posted on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. It was also posted on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. Clearly, we don't make these frequent posts on our YouTube platform. We only make them during the evening hours, this time of the day. What time is it now? It is 7:18 p.m. So these are the times that we get our YouTube updates, but clearly we make posts throughout the day as it's happening. So we saw on the visible satellite image that we got some amount of clouds bringing isolated showers to sections of St. Thomas and Portland and anything else. Even some sparkling yellow dots in there that we know represent some lightning flashes, if not lightning strikes. Then later on, at 1:35 p.m., the infrared close-up satellite image was posted, and it showed all of the cumulonimbus clouds as represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, not to mention some blacks in there that represent some deep convection. Even the sparkling white dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. And at 1:35 p.m. we saw a lot of activity across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes, just as predicted, especially up to the east of the island. We see all of that thunderstorm activity taking place over the water, and across sections of Clarendon and St. Catherine as well. Then we're pleased to announce that we were able to show the Cuban Doppler radar images. The Cuban Doppler radar is back up and running, thankfully, because we know the Jamaican radar has been down for a good number of years now, and it's not nice to be having to depend on the Guantanamo Bay military radar that only shows Portland, not to mention the Cayman radar that only shows western Jamaica. So it's nice to see the Cuban radar back and we know it shows a wide range to show the entirety of the island. We know Doppler radar images show the actual rainfall. The greens, the yellows, they represent light to moderate rainfall. And it's nice to use the Doppler radar images because we can have cloud cover over an area and not necessarily rainfall, but the Doppler radar actually shows us where the rainfall is. And we saw that at 4 p.m. we had the Doppler radar images showing light to moderate to even heavy rainfall affecting sections of eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. Look at all of these yellows across sections of Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland at that time. There was even some flooding taking place across sections of Manchester today. And if we actually take a look at some of our followers and their comments, we had Kamip stating overcast with sporadic rain in Salem, Runaway Bay. Sean stating it's raining cats and dogs in eastern St. Thomas, but it's overcast now. Kimani in the cut stating and northern rain in St. Anne. Kimani, your area is also a central parish, just like what we showed here. So don't feel left out. If I say central parishes, just know that St. Anne is also included. So we don't have to say northern or southern. Alright, so let's get back to the comments. Alright, so here we go. Lloyd, it's overcast in eastern Kingston. Then we had Amoya Austin, rain falling in Thompson Town, Clarendon. Shanelia Powell, raining with thunderstorm over in St. Thomas. Sandrina stating rain for the past 3 hours. Melona Parma, raining in Clarendon. Even on our Instagram page, we had some of the comments coming in with the rainfall. We had, this should be MI33 example underscore queen underscore star stating rain in Yalas, ya underscore Manda underscore Stewie, raining in Santa Cruz. Then we had Good Gal Momo stating raining in May Pen, Queen Grey Burrell stating rain in Portland. We also had Yeba underscore Abbey stating raining in Mandeville, Sam underscore Glam 14, rain non-stop in East Portland. We even had Cat underscore, what's this, Le Darling stating rain a fall and maybe the people them man yard can't leave and the woman fridge by 3, it's now 2:55, help me oh. And we had I underscore G underscore Chrissy stating Trelawney rain on and off. Finally, we had underscore Mamo K, raining in St. Thomas. Cole underscore Shadane stating right now in my area there are a lot of lightning strikes and heavy rain, St. Catherine. Even on our YouTube page, we had the comments coming in regarding the rainfall. Shanika Finn 8769 stating it's raining about 2 hours now in Pamfret, St. Thomas, and I'm loving it. Conrad Baker hyphen KM 7ZY stating blessings yo everyone, we're getting some heavy rain in Mandeville. Neil Davis .3226 stating very dark cloud cover. Then he later updated heavy rain in Stony Hill, St. Andrew this hour. And if we even take a look back at the time he was referring to, we can even see it on the Crossroads cam from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. So if we look north, we can see the hills of St. Andrew, definitely Stony Hill somewhere up there, and we can see the rainfall up there. You know, the corporate area, Kingston, St. Andrew sections of halfway through Crossroad, we mainly got cloudy skies this afternoon. Most of the rainfall was off toward north. Most of the rainfall was off toward east and west in St. Thomas and in St. Catherine. But I'm sure most persons in Kingston were very much grateful for the fact that we didn't get Mr. Sun today. Well, we got him in the morning, but not in the afternoon, so we're grateful that we got a cool down from all of the cloud cover. Taking a look at another post. This post was made on This Is a Blast Twitter page, not only their Twitter but even their Instagram page, highlighting the fact that there was some flooding reported in Maypen and in Mandeville, both capitals for Manchester and Clarendon, and we saw some areas inundated with some amount of flash flooding. Right here we see a community underwater, another community right here underwater. He even showed a video with someone wading through water, two persons actually, another person with an umbrella, and we saw a car right there. This is what we're always preaching about: turn around, don't drown. Hopefully there was nobody in that vehicle at the time. You might think that your car is invincible, but no, it is not. It only takes a few feet of water for the cars to break down, and you don't want to be swept away at all. We also had, as told by Janae, stating Mandeville washing away as usual. We saw the very heavy rainfall and the flooding inundating the area that she was showing at the time. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can see that the clouds were definitely a cross section of most parishes. The popcorn like thunderstorm clouds, especially across western Jamaica. We had all of those high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the east, southeast, which explains why we got so much rain on the south coast today. More of the upper level clouds were being pushed up towards the southern side of the island, and we're indeed grateful for that. Let me reload the images so that we have the latest infrared satellite images. As of 7:26 p.m. we can see that we still have some leftover clouds associated with the thunderstorms that we got today. More so, some cloudy sky is going to be experienced tonight, especially across the southern coastal areas. Not going to see much in the way of stars at all, but we can definitely see where we had that thunderstorm activity across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes, especially some southern parishes. We saw definitely that thunderstorm activity across sections of Manchester, St. Elizabeth right there. And we saw those high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the east, southeast, and anything else. So we're definitely grateful for this new weather pattern. Remember last week, most of the high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the northeast, bringing more of that rainfall to sections of some northern parishes. So with the flip in the script, we're glad that southern Jamaica is getting in on the mix, more cloud cover, if not rainfall and thunderstorms. Alright, so let us take a look at what the Doppler radar images from the Cuban radar site are showing. As of the latest images that are stopped right here at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7:20 p.m. Jamaica time, so that was 7 minutes ago that we had the latest. We saw that we had some amount of greens right there that represent rainfall to the southwest of the island, right there to the south of Westmoreland, to the southwest of St. Elizabeth, some rainfall right there to the northeast of Portland or to the east of Portland. Not much taking place across the island at all. But some person might be wondering, but whether Jamaica, what about these greens and yellows that we're seeing on the north coast? Don't pay that any mind. All of that is ground clutter. Ground clutter is basically a glitch in the system. I was hoping that the Cuban Doppler radar would have been fixed by now. It's always showing the ground clutter. It never used to do that a couple years ago, but there's a lot of ground clutter recently. So that's a glitch. We actually know the rainfall different from the glitch, especially if we can match the rainfall on the satellite images or the cloud cover on the satellite images to the actual rainfall. So right now we don't see that kind of weather on the north coast at all, but we definitely see what's causing the rainfall right there, especially to the southwest of the island, which explains the rainfall that we see on the Doppler radar images. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, it makes sense that we're having 26 degrees Celsius as the temperatures across both Montego Bay and Kingston, especially considering the rainfall that we got today. And if we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, well, tomorrow morning at 4 a.m., we can see that Montego Bay should be getting 25 degrees Celsius, Kingston 24 degrees Celsius. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 12Z on Tuesday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Tuesday. And we can see Jamaica getting in on those yellow colors, maybe even some oranges, that represent 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of June across Jamaica are about the same as 90 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 90 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 34 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can still see that the air is very much moist across the Caribbean, and we're indeed grateful for that. You know, the moist air contributes to all the rainfall that we're experiencing. Jamaica right here, we don't want to see all of the dry air that we can see by the key on the bottom that represents that is represented by the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites. Within those reds, you can see the driest area right there of the northwestern coast of Africa, where we see those yellows and those oranges. We don't want to see all of that at all across the Caribbean. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, we can see that we have some amount of browns that represent the Saharan dust that's stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region, most of which is curving northward than anything else. But Eastern Caribbean islands are definitely gonna be getting on those hazy skies. We can see that the tropical waves and the mixture with the trough is definitely gonna be causing more so in the way of that moist air. So the dust associated with the Sahara desert is definitely gonna be eroding, as we can see that most of the area right here where Jamaica is near is going to be getting on more so in the way of blues. So the air is definitely moist, and we're indeed grateful for that. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS malls are showing those lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues that we know by the key on the bottom right that represents anywhere from 0.54 meter wave height to 1.5 meter wave height. The winds averaging anywhere from 10 to 20 knots at most, and we see the general direction on both the Euro and the GFS malls having the winds coming in from the east. And we can also see that we're going to be having the least amount of winds across inland areas of some central and western parishes. As usual, we know what usually happens. All of the air coming in from the east is going to be piling up, and then we have those cumulus clouds forming into mid-level clouds, rain clouds that is, then maybe even making it up to cumulonimbus status. And then with the forecast for the upper level winds coming in from the west for tomorrow, so it's more west, it's not west northwest like today or west southwest, so it's not gonna be favoring any side of the island. So I guess it's gonna be equal on both coasts. So southern and northern parishes are gonna be getting in on some rainfall. So it's safe to say that eastern, central, and western Jamaica are gonna be getting in on rainfall. Again, something similar to what happened today. And if we take a look at the rainfall forecast that is predicted by both the Euro and the GFS malls, we can see the blues that represent rainfall right here, especially across eastern parishes in Jamaica. What time is this? This is 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 12 a.m. Jamaica time. Skipping ahead to about 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 11 a.m. Jamaica time. We see that both the Euro and the GFS malls are showing rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. The Euro a bit more robust with all of these dark blues and even some greens across the east, even right there across northwestern Jamaica. Not so much on the GFS model at all, but we do see the consensus in a way. We see those darker blues across those areas, northern St. Elizabeth, southern Trelawney, southern St. James, and all of the heavy rainfall right there off to the east of the island. Either way, all parishes, eastern, central, and western parishes, could receive some amount of rainfall tomorrow. And I say all parishes, but not necessarily everywhere in all parishes. So if you're not getting rain, I'm talking to you Portmore people, don't be upset. So it could rain in northern St. Catherine, northern Clarendon, northern Manchester, but not necessarily some southern coastal areas. But definite sections of some eastern, central, western parishes are going to be getting on some amount of rainfall. And even by 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's actually 1 p.m. Jamaica time, we see the increase in rainfall. Look at all of these greens, even yellows and oranges that the Euro is showing. Tremendous rainfall, might have some flooding taking place. The GFS showing some dark blues and greens in there across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be, a very interesting day weather-wise. Some flooding definitely going to be taking the headlines. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, ensure that you have your rain gear with you, your umbrella, your raincoat, your water bowl, whatever the case may be, as all of these accumulations are not normal at all. Both the Euro and the GFS model showing the reds that we can see by the key on the right that represents up to 1 inch, even close to 2 inches of rainfall is what the Euro is showing. GFS not so robust with up to close to 2 inches, but at least up to 1.22 inch of rainfall. We'll see exactly what unfolds. We're indeed grateful that we're going to be receiving some amount of rainfall. We're in the month of June. We're in our secondary rainy season or primary rainy season as we know. In the months of August, September, October. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put some kind of a dent in the drought that some areas are currently experiencing. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can still see that we have a lot of moisture pushing east from the east to the west northwest. So it's not necessarily an east-west flow. It's more so a east southeast to west northwest flow across the eastern Caribbean from all of these moistures associated with the tropical wave train. You can also see the clouds associated with another tropical wave bringing some amount of showers and thunderstorms to sections of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. We can see the clouds associated with the cold front and the trough still plaguing sections of the Greater Antilles, and there's a lot more of that to come. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we'll be going down to see exactly what is happening now. We can see that we did get in on some amount of rainfall if we load these images across sections of Puerto Rico. More of that rainfall moving from southeast to northwest than anything else. Definitely had some amount of rainfall across sections of San Juan, sections of southern Puerto Rico, eastern portion of the Dominican Republic. We also had some hit or miss showers across sections of St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis as well. And even if we take a look at the latest Doppler radar images, we can still see that we have some lingering showers across some spots. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the Barbados radar site, we can see that we had some rainfall pushing from southeast or east southeast to west northwest across the island today. Most of that rainfall right now to the north of the island. Some of that rainfall definitely already affecting sections of Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and even sections of Trinidad and Tobago, and there's definitely more where that came from. If you take a look at what we have Doppler radar images, we can see some of that rainfall as well affecting sections of Honduras, Colombia, northwestern Venezuela, and all of those areas that we already mentioned, sections of the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and the Windward Islands. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that we have way above normal temperatures as represented by those reds and even blacks across sections of the central United States and sections of Mexico right there. While it should be some above normal temperatures, not that crazy like what Mexico is getting. Across northern South America, most of Central America and most of the Caribbean, as you can see, all of what is represented by the key. All of it is represented by the key on the right. Anywhere from 1 to 5 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, especially the way above normal temperatures across Mexico right there, where they're still being plagued by a heat wave. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, we can see that most of the Saharan dust is kind of curving with the ridges of high pressure from east to west and then curving northward. We see that the Eastern Caribbean definitely on the edge of the Saharan dust, and some of them might not even notice this, especially with the numerous cloud showers and thunderstorms plaguing the area. The air is very moist at this time, but us in the central to the Western Caribbean, we're indeed grateful that most of the dust associated with the Sahara Desert is definitely dwindling, all courtesy of the lack of dust brought about by the rainfall associated with tropical waves. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we still see what we've been seeing all along. The lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues that we can see by the key on the bottom right, that represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height to 1.5 meter wave height, plaguing majority of the Caribbean. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong at all for the most part, coming in from the east or the southeast across majority of the Caribbean, averaging anywhere from 10 to 20 knots, maybe even gusting to some 25 knots, where we see those yellows right there to the north of Venezuela. As it relates to the rainfall forecast now, we can see that both the EURA and the GFS models are in consensus that these are the areas that are going to be picking up some amount of rainfall within the next 24 hours. So let's scroll down so that we have the accurate post. Alright, so we can see There's definitely going to be some more rainfall in store for sections of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica. Look at where we see all of these reds that represent up to 1 inch of rainfall or more, even some purples in there. Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos, section of the Windward Islands, so Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, section of Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana. Not so much Suriname or French Guiana at all. Most of this rainfall is not hitting land because of the southeasterly flow. So all of that is pushing west northwestward into the Caribbean. And we can also see the rainfall affecting sections of Guyana, section of Venezuela, section of Colombia, Panama, definitely getting near. Look at all of these purples that represent up to 2 to 3 inches of rainfall or more. Section of Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador getting in on the mix. And the thing is, if we look at both maps from the Euro and the GFS maps, we see something similar. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.